Yes, welcome, elite entrepreneurs and empire builders. Welcome to the greatest Facebook group in the metaverse. I am so pumped for today. Truly, I know I feel like I probably say that every time, but I could not be more excited for today. This story is one of the craziest stories I've ever heard of, I've come across, and just a story of resilience, of the Lord's provision, of hard work, of just it's just incredible. And so I'm really pumped to get after it today and introduce you to the franchisee of this franchise that we're going to be talking to today and putting him in front of you. It really is going to be one of the most motivational, inspiring stories you have heard. And for any of you that are kind of right now, you're on your journey of franchise ownership and you're just kind of you're not sure. You've been looking on Google, you've been researching stuff, you've been thinking about it, you've been talking to your friends and family at Thanksgiving dinner about this idea you've had to get into franchise ownership year after year after year, and yet you still find yourself nowhere closer to actually living out those dreams than you were when you started years ago. Today, truly, I believe is going to be that turning point for you. To hear the story of what this man has walked through, been through, experienced, and still at the end of the day is finding success and living out, some of the visions he had of what life would become through business ownership and franchising. And that can be your story too. And so I'm so excited for you to hear this story today. Man, if you've missed out, last couple of weeks have also been pretty solid. Last week we I actually brought in my man Heath, and we talked about the franchise discovery process. I don't know if you guys, for those of you who on, you remember this, but if you weren't on, this is what we did last week. We talked about what the franchise discovery process kind of looks like for potential owners, those who have been looking at franchising for a while but don't really know what they're getting themselves into. Like we talk about how, we talk about a strategy session call and our franchise opportunity showcase, how that's so critical in understanding the right franchise fit for you, and how the right franchise fit is far more important than the franchise popularity. Okay, the brand popularity, the fame, the notoriety for you and finding success for your future is not as big of a deal as making sure you find the right franchise fit for who you are and where you're wanting to go in life and what you're wanting to do and what you can qualify for. The fit matters most important. And so we talked about every step of the process, what the initial call looks like, exploration call, what an FDD is, and what you need to expect or how you can leverage that as a helpful tool for you. We've talked about validation calls last week and how that can be one of the most critical aspects to your franchising discovery journey. And so we did all that last week. It was an incredible experience. And so make sure you go back and watch that video. Next week, I'm really excited about next week's call before we get started today. Next week, I'm interviewing a former lightweight UFC champion, Rashad Evans, and well known for a number of different fights, fought Chuck Liddell, and he's a champ. But he got into business ownership. We're going to have him on in the call and talk about that transformation, that journey, that transition, and what life looks like now as a business owner. And so I'm really excited to have him on as well. But it's good. So we got some cool stuff coming up. We got some cool stuff we already did. 2 weeks ago, we did this call, and here's where it kind of matters for today. 2 weeks ago, I hopped on in here and I went live talking about the top 6 franchises of the year that were at the BAI conference. Okay, the BAI conference that we had at the Ritz-Carlton a couple weeks ago in Orlando, Florida. Of all the 100 or so brands that were there, here was Jared's top 6. Okay, and I explained what the conference was. I explained why I chose these 6. But what's important today is of these top 6 of the hundreds that were there, number 3 on the list for me is this brand right here, Mr. Electric. And I truly, truly mean this wholeheartedly. And there's a number of reasons why. We're going to talk about Mr. Electric and why they made a third on the top 6 list for me this year. We're going to unpack that. And you're even going to hear some of that in the story today with our interview with my man, David Kirkwood. I'm excited to have him on. What you need to know, first of all, before we get started about Mr. Electric is they are a part of the neighborly company of brands Neighborly is the premier in-home brand service provider. And you probably know them as like Molly Maid Cleaning Services, Mr. Rooter, Precision Garage Doors, some just massive, well-known brands. They actually own, I think, 20, 21, 22, somewhere around there, different premier in-home service brands. And Mr. Electric is one of their highest performing brands based on averages across the board. And so I'm excited to kind of unpack this with you. Here's just a clip, a snippet, 30 seconds about Neighborly and who they are.
They say a house is something you buy, and a home is something you feel. At Neighborly, we believe a happy home is possible when you put your home in the hands of experts who truly care. Our community of locally owned and operated home service professionals make our Neighborly Done Right promise to every customer. If a job's not done right, we'll make it right. That's just the Neighborly thing to do. Neighborly.com. Trusted local professionals who get the job done right.
Yeah, so Neighborly owns a number of different brands in the space. Mr. Electric, one of their very best for a number of different reasons. This brand is, what they do, they provide a number of different things, that from residential electrical repairs and services to generators, installs and services, to commercial installation and lighting and retrofitting and residential outdoor lighting, low voltage systems. They'll even like install holiday lighting and they do electrical vehicle car charging installs and just a number of different things. What's unique about them is in the Neighborly brands, most brands split into two different categories. You have all the brands that go into like kind of the repair services. When something's broke, what do? Right? You call Mr. Rooter and he's going to come out and fix your plumbing issues, right? You have the other set of brands that kind of fit into like kind of the remodeling or restoration spaces. And like, so I want to get new cabinets. So I'm going to call a Cabinet IQ and they're going to come on out and they're going to replace my cabinets. Mr. Electric is a cross of both of them. It's the perfect combination of both of those kinds of concepts, where they provide the services for people who need the repairs, and they also do kind of the restoration, the remodeling, so to speak, of the homes as well that are in need, or the companies that are the commercial spaces in need, whatever it might be, cars that are in need. It is a low overhead company. You don't even need an office space to get started. With this brand, there's no cold calling really necessary. People call you when there's a need, or when they know that they need you, when they want you. You're hardly ever chasing down receivables. It's mostly just like cash collection, and it's one of the most highest grossing brands in the Neighborly portfolio, just based on averages. They can prove that in their item 19, man. So this is one of, for sure, top 6 brands of the year. I cannot wait to dive into this, to bring on the one and only David Kirkwood with Mr. Electric.
There's not a better feeling than for the homeowner to get exactly what they need. It's fantastic.
Basically what we tell our customers is if you got an electrical issue in your home, we can take care of it.
We have done everything from a whole home generator to security cameras.
We're going to make sure everything's in compliance and up to code. We're going to make sure that your family is safe.
Unfortunately, something as simple as twisting a wire nut on incorrectly can be a potential hazard. So it has to be done by a licensed professional.
I absolutely love what I do, and the reason that is because I know those customers are taken care of.
That's what we provide, delivering on exactly what we say we're going to do in exactly the time frame that we say we're going to do it. It's really fulfilling once you can change someone's everyday life. What more could we want?
We'll always be here, so if you just need us, call us.
Yes, David Kirkwood, welcome to the Franchise Opportunities for Elite Entrepreneurs and Empire Builders Facebook group.
Well, thank you, Jared. You're way too kind on your introductions there.
No, you're too humble.
Deserved.
Yeah, no, man. It truly is. The pleasure's all mine having you here, man. Truly, I've loved getting to know you a little bit and hearing some of your story. And I'm so pumped to share a little bit more too with this group. So let's just start there, if we could. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, so start from the beginning. I'm an engineer by trade. So I moved to Wichita, Kansas, against my will in 1997. I had
The metropolis of
yeah,
Wichita, Kansas, huh?
I had job offers in Seattle and Dallas and Wichita, and I told God the last place on earth that I wanted to go was Wichita, Kansas. And the
Yeah,
other two
you never tell God that. That's what happens.
the other two fell through at the last minute, so I came up here. Anyway, I worked on aircraft for 25 years and left my day job about 2 years ago and went to run the business full time. So I've been married for 16 years. I have 4 kids. I am coaching 2 of my boys in baseball. I love hunting and fishing. And, my entire goal in life was to fly in the Air Force. And I got meningitis when I was in college. And so I lost my arm and both legs. And by the grace of God, I survived, went back, finished college, and worked in aircraft. I said, hey, if I can't fly them, might as well work on them. I love airplanes, still to this day. But it was one of those things where I really wanted to do my own thing. I wanted to own my own business, even since I was in college.
Yeah.
And so I've just the entrepreneurial bug, and I went and got my MBA, and I majored in that. I took more entrepreneurship classes. And so I was looking for something more to do. And so that's kind of my background. My wife, Rebecca, is my rock, and she's the one that keeps me going on the straight and narrow.
Yeah. I love that, man. So are you still working on planes?
No. So like I said, I did that from 97 to 2022. And so I left we started the business in 2016. And I did dual duty. I kept my day job. Cash flow is king. Kept my day job and worked that while I was building the business. And there was actually a lot of good lessons learned by doing it that way, because you learn how to set up the business to run itself. And so I was an absentee owner. Was going to do my day job, but I hired the right people to run the business.
Okay.
And then we got to the point we were growing, and it just came to the point we homeschool our 4 kids, and my wife was trying to help. And she said, I kind of got the ultimatum that said, either you choose the business or you choose to work.
No.
It wasn't a hard over decision. It was just one of those things where we need to do something different.
Someone's got to give. Yeah.
That's where the franchise came in. The president of Mr. Electric, Joel Worthington, actually came and visited our shop, and he sat down with us, and we spent about 3 days with him, and he dug through everything, P&Ls, operations, everything. And really, at the end of the 3 days, we had done, by the grace of God, we'd set it up just right. He asked me at the end of the 3 days, he said, when are you quitting your day job? And I looked at my calendar, and I decided, I think it was July 22nd, I was going to give my notice. And so I went and gave my notice and came full time, and we've been growing. Economy is ups and downs, but we've been able to hold it steady through the ups and downs.
Yeah. Incredible. So that's kind of a little bit like why you made that transition into franchising and full time. And it's interesting that you went from semi-absentee to kind of an owner operator, maybe not operator, but full time, so to speak. Right. And because I feel like a lot of times it almost kind of goes the other way. I feel like a lot of people get into franchising as a full-time owner operator. Is what I'm going to do. And as we can scale, then I can put people in the right place and kind of step back. But for you, it's almost the opposite. Like, this is only going to take off at the level we want it to if I get more hands-on here at this stage of the
right. Yes, correct. And what we did, and so by doing that, though, I was able to come in. Now I have an office manager in place. I have an office manager and a CSR. They're here, and my office manager has taken on so much of that day-to-day stuff to where, unless it's something really critical, I don't even really. I mean, I have a clue what's going on, but sometimes I don't know what's going on, which is okay because you put the right people in those places.
Yeah. Right. Did you have an office space when you first got started?
We actually started out without an office space, and it was one of those that there's a call center that can answer the phones for us
Okay.
and take those calls and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um, Early on, when I was visiting with other Mr. Electrics, they were you really need someone answering the phones. Even if it's a small office. And so I ended up actually renting a 10 by 10 office from AirServe, which is one of our sister
Oh,
companies,
yeah.
for $250 a month and no bills. I just a 10 by 10 office,
Easy. Yeah.
and it was perfect. And so we actually officed with them for several years, and we just had a CSR there. She answered the phones, handled
Yeah.
everything, and
Well,
until
I
we
think
finally
that's good to hear that like business is so good right away that you have to have somebody on the phone.
yeah.
Like leads are going to be rolling in right away.
And it's just one of those things where call centers, they're there for a purpose,
Yeah.
but and you're right, getting that rolling, and they're a part of getting that rolling is having that person in the office.
Yeah. So when you started looking at franchising, let's back up a second. When you started,
Yep.
you were looking at it and you looked at a couple of different brands, I'm sure, but there's over 4,000 options worldwide. So, and I know you don't look at all of them, but after all the research you did, why Mr. Electric? Why did you settle on this brand?
So I had a previous business. I
Uh-huh.
went out, we did venture capital, had a patent on the world's lightest fully adjustable folding wheelchair, raised about 2.5 million in venture capital. But it was starting from scratch. And it was like going up against the Fords and Chevys of the world.
Mm.
And we just couldn't get it off the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And there's other issues as well, going into business with a friend and blah blah blah. That's all water under the bridge.
Yeah.
So we ended up shutting that down, and I was looking for something else to do. I still had that bug, and I wanted to do something on my own. And I started looking, and I was looking at had a business broker here in town. I was looking at existing businesses,
Okay.
and I looked at a couple of them, and there were issues with the books. There wasn't something, it was everything just, there was something
Something's off.
wrong here. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so how I came into franchising, I always thought of franchising as restaurants. I worked at restaurants growing up. I want to have nothing to do with food service. I don't want, it just me personally. That's not my thing.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with it. You can do really well at it. But so I was up late one night reading a Wall Street Journal article on a Saturday night, and it was
As people do, as they're hanging out on Saturday nights, Wall Street Journal read, so fun.
I was actually looking at businesses to buy on a Saturday night. That's what I was doing.
Yeah.
And there was an article, and it was a Wall Street Journal article. And it was, why not look at franchising? And I think it was like findafranchise.com website that I clicked on. And I clicked on about 4 or 5 of them. And one of them was Mr. Electric. But it was amazing. Monday morning, my phone started blowing up.
Really?
And it was multi-level marketing. It was, different things like that. Stuff that you really couldn't make a living out of as well. But then Mr. Electric called me about a week later. And I started talking with them. And I told my wife, she had to live through me shutting down the previous business. And so she was really apprehensive.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And so we started talking, and the folks at Mr. Electric were great. And, what really got me with Mr. Electric was we live by a code of values. And one of the things
like you and your family, or Mr. Electric does?
Mr. Electric.
Okay.
We operate by a code of values. Mr. Electric does.
Okay.
But the thing is that it laid right over on kind of the way we and my family operate. And so we ended up going down to Waco and visiting in March of 2016. And my wife it was kind of pulling teeth for me to take her down there.
Really?
And we went down and visited, and we met with a number of other franchisees. Honestly, the Mr. Electric folks were great. And don't get me wrong, I have nothing against them. Joel is one of I can't say enough good things about him. He's a great leader, great president of Mr. Electric. But it was sitting down with the other franchisees that were at that same meeting.
Mm.
And some of them today are close friends of ours. And
That's so
what we
cool.
realized really quickly that we were walking into a community of other
Yeah.
business owners that we aligned with.
Yeah.
And that was one of the biggest sells for us.
Mm.
And then seeing their successes. I mean, we were watching people, some of the people 7 years ago were the size we are right now,
Yeah.
now are $20 million shops.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So
It's continuing to grow. Wow.
the growth is there. You got to figure out how to do it, and you got to be committed.
Yeah. Yeah, for real. So you mentioned your wife and her anxiousness, right? Her hesitation toward it. What about you? When you were looking at this franchise, did you experience much angst or fear in the whole decision-making process?
Sure. Oh yeah. There's all kinds of fear going into it because of shutting down the previous business and having to live through that.
Yeah.
And I'm a sole breadwinner. My wife stays at home and homeschools our 4 kids. So yeah, there was. But I think it was seeing the successes of others and then having that support system there. One of the things that I was told when we were still looking at Mr. Electric, we hadn't signed the paperwork yet. And one of the guys is Robert Loomis, the guy out of Dallas Fort Worth. I was talking with him and he says, "Look, Dave, follow the system and you'll be just fine."
Yeah.
And one of the that's very true. A lot of the guys that I know that have come and gone are the ones that decide they're going to go outside the bounds and operate outside the wheel well.
Yeah.
The franchise system is proven, and I'm a firm believer that if you follow the system, there's still going to be rough patches, but you're going to make it.
Right. And that's the beauty of franchising, right? I talk to a lot of people that, they want to get into business ownership, but they would have a hard time not having their hand on the wheel at all times. And it's like, it is your business, but the beauty of doing this is, there is a playbook all proven for success that you don't have to rewrite. Like, you got to put in the work.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that it doesn't mean you're not going to work hard. It doesn't mean it's the lazy man's way out at all.
No.
But you don't have to rewrite you don't have to recreate the wheel, so to speak. And it's just a matter of putting the system into practice.
And that's the thing. Even though it's a franchise, there's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears that are going to go into it.
Yeah.
And it is not it's not turnkey, right? You're going to have to do all the pre-work. You're going to have to set everything up. You're still an independent business owner, locally owned and operated. It's just you have the system supporting you from behind.
Right.
And no franchise is going to do everything for you. I don't care what franchise you do. They're there to support you, help you walk through it, avoid the pitfalls.
Yeah.
So
that's the truth. So tell me about some of those. I want to hear about some of the pain points for you that you've experienced over the years. What major pain points have you experienced? But can you tell me a little bit about the neighborly aspect of Mr. Electric? Like, what have you seen as far as the benefit of being a neighborly owned brand franchisee?
Okay. So one of the things that's neat about that is that I think we have in our local market, Wichita area, we have, I believe, 13 of the brands. Okay.
Yeah.
You talked about there's the repair cluster. That's what Mr. Electric, Mr. Rooter, Air Serve, Handyman, we all kind of fit in that space.
Yeah.
And then you got the Sustain, which I don't remember all of them, but one of the things that's nice under the neighborly umbrella. See, the neighborly umbrella, it was talked about, but it wasn't completely formed when we first came in. Neighborly really came in and really formed and solidified it after we came on board.
Well, yeah. Now they call it the neighborly hub, right?
That's what I was getting to.
Yeah.
So we have the neighborly hub, and we have a neighborly Wichita hub.
Okay.
And I'm actually the one. There's 5 of us that are spearheading that.
Yeah.
And we actually have a separate LLC that we've developed on our own. We have a co-op marketing funds that we're using there. And we're basically developing that. We're in the beginning stages of it. But Mr. Rooter, AirServe, and Mr. Electric, we work hand in hand all the time together. We're
Yeah.
constantly referring business back and forth, those types of things. You know, I
Love
look
it.
at it, I go into, let's say 5,000 homes a year.
Okay.
Well, because of my network and all my neighborly hub, I go into 20 to 30,000 homes a year.
Wow. Holy smokes. Yeah. 4 or 5x. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just because of the association. And we actually do a home show every year. We all come together, we put our booths together, and
Yeah.
we ping pong people back and forth as we're
Yeah.
talking to them at the home show.
That's amazing. I mean, it makes sense. You have Mr. Rooters in there realizing that while he's working on the plumbing, the fun side of the business, right? Hey, your lights you having issues here, or this outlet doesn't work, or you have an old house, you need to update this stuff. I got a guy
Yeah.
that does that.
Yeah.
Done, and vice versa.
And the thing is that kind of cool about it is my guys, they are, I know a couple of them have actually formed friendships with like the Mr. Rooter guys, and they're actually on a bowling league together now.
Seriously.
There are different things so the relationships extend outside of the day job.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so good. So tell us then a little bit about walk us through some of those major pain points for you that you experienced throughout. Yeah, go for it.
So, I think the pain points starting out, there was the issue for me. It was hiring. One of the things I didn't fully understand when I got in was that the union for the IBEW, very strong in Wichita. Well, we're a non-union shop. So people don't want to leave the union to go work for a non-union shop. So that was a pain point. So there's a lot of struggle with hiring.
I think, David, as you're saying this is so good. And I'm sorry to pause it, but I think this is so critical for people at this stage that are watching now or later that are interested in franchise ownership. But one of the biggest questions is this very thing you're addressing right now. What about staff? What about employees? How do I bring people on that know how to do electricity?
Right. Yeah. The one thing is recruiting is king, and it always is. And that is going to be, and I don't care whether you're just starting out or whether you're 7 years in like me. Recruiting is always people. We're in the people business, and that is going to be the hardest part of the job. And you talk to the guys that have been doing it for 20 years or 25 years, they'll say the same thing. And that's always going to be the case. I kind of have a little bit of I give a lot of grace when I have people come on, but at the same time, I have a theory is hire slow and fire fast.
Yep.
Your culture is what you're going to live by. And we have a very strong culture. And that's the reason why I've been most of my people stick around. 2 of my first employees are still with me from 7 years ago.
Wow. Amazing. I love that. Hire slow, fire fast. So have you had to let people go then?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I've let go as many as I hired.
Wow.
And so I have a staff of 8 right now.
Okay.
And, I've had a couple that have left because they wanted to do something different, and more power to you. I had one guy one of my electricians leave because he wanted to go back to school and go into IT. What can I do to support you?
Oh, I love that.
He wasn't a good fit for what we do. But you got to let people go sometimes too. And that's the key as well. I think one of the things starting out initially, I think one of the things I tell new franchisees when they're coming in is whenever you're doing your projections, and I didn't do a real good job of this starting out, is put some pad in there for the unexpected. Don't put the pie in sky of projections thinking you're going to be a millionaire in 5 years. do a realistic look at it, but
Yeah.
put a little pad in there so you don't get in trouble
Okay.
a year or two in.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's incredibly insightful, and that's just wise.
Yeah.
Because the biggest reason still today most franchisees close up shop or fail is because they were underfunded, because they were not well financed, and it just
And
doesn't work. So
cash flow is king.
yeah,
And I was told that when we had our previous business with the medical devices, and from one of our investors, and it is, you have to watch the cash flow. A lot of people don't pay attention to it. They pay attention to their P&L.
yeah,
Your P&L doesn't matter if you don't have cash flow.
man, David, you're dropping all this wisdom. I love it. Do you have any other mindsets, skill sets that you feel like you've learned along the way as a franchisee or a business owner, Mr. Electric, that would be helpful for this audience?
Yeah, and I have a couple of things that I jotted down.
Yeah.
Business ownership comes with a lot of responsibility,
Mm-hmm.
and it can run your life. And that's one of the things that I had to learn is how to shut it off, because it gets to the point where it will run your life, and because you're always thinking about it, you're always working on it, sometimes my best advice to people is learn how to shut it off, because
Wow.
whatever you're working on will be there tomorrow. Don't burn out. That's one of the big ones, because I came close myself, especially when I was doing double duty with a day job.
Yeah, no joke. And you still got a family on top of that.
Yeah. And what was interesting is when I left in 2022 and went full time, I don't know, probably 3 or 4 months after, I had actually we were eating dinner. That's one of my rules. I always eat dinner with my 4 kids and my wife every night.
Love it.
And I was sitting down and I just thought about it, and I asked them, I said, so have you guys noticed a change? Because I really hadn't noticed a change. And every one of my kids, from 14 all the way down to 5, well, it'd be 12 down to 5 at the time, said, yes, big change.
Wow.
And it was being able to release a lot of that.
Yeah. Well, I bet that was incredible for you to hear as a dad.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
And then I've been working on focusing on that more. The other thing is bad stuff happens.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. Just count on it. Everything from, one example, I decided we were all going down to Texas for training. My guys all rented a 15-passenger van. There was snow and ice, and one of my guys totaled it. Guess what? I didn't get the extra insurance on it. Guess what? My commercial automotive policy didn't cover rental vehicles.
No.
So guess who had to write a check for $33,000?
Oh, terrible. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So stuff happens.
Yeah.
Just roll with it. It was a hard pill to swallow, but I was just like, that's it.
It happens. It happens. But keep in mind too, like, I think it's so good that it comes and goes. Like, it doesn't last forever.
No.
No.
And it's not the end of the world.
No, it's not.
The other thing is prioritize and manage. You have to prioritize things. You have to set expectations, but then you have to manage them afterwards. A lot of people will prioritize and set expectations, but they don't manage them afterwards. You have a bunch of staff. They're people.
Yeah.
You have to have that. You have to set the KPIs of the business, and you have to measure people to KPIs. I review KPIs of my business with my team weekly. Every Monday morning when we have team meeting, they see the KPIs.
Yeah.
And so
you got to do the work of being the owner. Now, you're not the one at the home performing the work of the electrician.
No.
That's not the role of the owner, especially with neighborly companies. I believe correct me if I'm wrong, that's kind of what one of the neighborly selling points is, like, we're not expecting you to pick up the tool. You're the owner.
Yeah, Jared, when I came in, I could count it on, I think it was 3 or 4 business owners that were non-electricians. And I'm an electrical engineer by trade. That's a long ways away from being an electrician. I may understand how electricity works. It's so far away from being an electrician. It's like I don't even know anything about electricity. Okay. And so, yes, you come in and you're looking at it from a business ownership standpoint. You're going to have to learn. I still don't know everything. But you're going to have to learn some things, but you don't need to know everything about electricity or plumbing or the restaurant industry or.
But whatever. how much of that training is done through Neighborly, through Mr. Electric?
Well, what's interesting is that all of every electrician that's in a truck, it has to be a journeyman electrician. They're already trained. To be able to get your journeyman's license, you have to have that training already.
Yeah.
Now, what we have done is one of the things that we've shifted to is to keep from having to get rid of bad habits of employees coming in. What we do is, and we do it a little different than other shops, we actually hire apprentices and they get all of their training by working with our journeyman. And we have a guy right now that's just finishing about 2 years with us, and he's sitting for his journeyman's test. And he did some online training that's available through one of the Neighborly providers. So, but Neighborly really doesn't provide training for the specific trade.
Yeah.
And that's something that you'll do on your own and get outside.
Yeah. Dave, this has been so good, man. I want to be respectful of your time and everyone else's time too. But I mean, if you could go back, what would you do differently? What comes to mind?
That's interesting you ask. There was, it's a lot of little things.
Mm-hmm.
There's not one big thing that I would say. It's a lot of little things I look back on and that I learned lessons from.
Yeah.
I think if you had to pin me down, one big thing was starting out. I would have had a much stronger start by maybe researching the market a little bit more of the market that I'm in.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
I really didn't do I didn't do a ton of research on the part of what my local authorities require and different things like that. So I came in a little behind when I started out, but I think that it's not
does Mr. Electric help with that at all?
They do. They give you advice, but the thing is that, for example, in Wichita, Kansas, in Sedgwick County, there has to be a licensed journeyman electrician in a truck.
Okay.
To be able to have a contractor's license and do work.
Yep.
If I go to Kansas City, I could hire you, Jared, tomorrow and put you in a truck as an electrician.
They don't have the same restrictions or regulations, huh?
No. So, but there's a whole lot more liability.
I mean, I could figure it out. There's YouTube, right? I mean, come on, David.
You are a smart guy. Yes. It's little things like that you start realizing. Yeah, for sure. But I think understanding a little bit more, padding my numbers a little bit more, so it wouldn't have been so strenuous starting out on the financial side.
Yeah. Okay.
And knowing that I should have had a little bit more capital.
Yeah.
Starting out.
Man, that's so good. For anyone else that's watching this call right now or at a later time, and they're still in they're researching, they're thinking about it, they're wrestling with, do I want to change careers? Do I want to jump ship? Do I want to, it seems risky. Is this the right call? And then that's where you once were. What advice or encouragement would you give to them? Final word.
I would say, if you have that entrepreneurship bug and you are really looking for a way to go out on your own and get out of the bureaucracy of a big company, I know a lot of people that have done that, that are Mr. Electric franchisees now. that's where I was at.
Yeah.
I have been able to set the culture that I want, the tone in my office that I want. And the biggest thing for me, the advice is, if you have that bug, I encourage you to research it, go for it, because you're going to, I've been doing this for 7 years, and there's still days that I have fear points.
Mm-hmm.
There's stuff that's scary. I don't care whether you're working when I was in the aircraft industry, about every 7 years, not long before I left my day job, I had a situation where I was sitting there at my desk with my badge, and my desk was cleaned out because I knew that layoffs were coming, and I thought that I might be one of them.
Wow.
Well, no one's coming to do that to me here, but I'm also in control of that.
Yeah.
And, I like that. I like the fact that I have flexibility.
Yeah.
And I tell you, my biggest advice would be really look at it. If it's really a desire of your heart, you can do it and go for it.
Yeah.
Bring in that wise counsel. People like Jared are here to help you through that. And if you find a good franchise, they will help you through that as well.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. David, that's so good, man. I appreciate you so much today. And friends, if you're watching this right now, I know we're at a later date, and you're sitting here thinking, man, I like that. I love this. This is the dream. I would love to be at home every night around the dinner table with my family. I would love to be able to homeschool our kids. I would love to be able to build and lead a business of 8+ staff members. I would love to build a business that's doing 7 figures or more. I would love to. This is the dream. I want to do all this. And you're wanting to begin the conversation, then my encouragement is to do that right now. Literally in the chat, either in the comments here below or in the chat, type in 2024. This is June 2024. Type in 2024. I'll reach out to you. We'll get a conversation going. I can help you with those first couple steps and trying to understand who you are to make sure we're finding the right perfect franchise fit for you. That very well could be Mr. Electric, but it very well could not be, right? But the idea, what I want you to hear from David's story too, is how critical the fit was for him and how much that has led to success as well for him. That's the case. So type in 2024. We'll get started right away. David, man, I appreciate you so much. Your time, your wisdom, sharing your story, your vulnerability, your transparency. All of it, man, for real, is so valuable, so helpful. It's going to help so many people, I think, stepping into business ownership. So my hat's off to you, man. Thank you so much for all you do.
Thanks, Jared.
Appreciate it. So, all right, buddy. We'll see you later. Everyone else, next week, again, don't forget, next week we are on with Rashad Evans, lightweight UFC champion or former UFC champion. And they're going to bring him in and talk about his transition into business ownership and what that life looks like. So save that on your calendar next Thursday, 4 p.m. Eastern time. We're going to bring him in. I'm so pumped for that one as well. But again, type in 2024 in the comments and we'll get you started today. Until then, this is Jared with FranOps for franchise opportunities, elite entrepreneurs, and empire builders. We will see you next time.